Ladies and gentlemen, you guys know that we're here to advocate for our babies first, and it seems that we are following a very disturbing trend that we just can't seem to slow this thing down. And I am just appalled. I am ashamed the fact that we are in 2020 going on 2021 and my email is still full of these stories of these babies, and I don't understand why is it that people continue to hurt those who cannot speak for themselves nor defend themselves against the tyranny of their caretakers and other people. This beautiful baby boy that y'all see right here has a smile that would just light up a room. That is Rowan Brandon Sweeney. Rowan Brandon Sweeney. Let me see if I can back up on his picture just for a moment. So this baby boy, if I'm not mistaken, was only 4 years old. He had his whole life ahead of him, and he seemed to be a very, very happy kid, and his life was cut short tragically behind a couple of thugs. Okay? So what I want to do is I want to be careful, and I want to preface the story and let you guys know that not only are we going to be talking about one criminal, but we're going to be talking about two. But the story is kind of broken up a little bit, so you guys bear with me while I try to give you guys the details. Now, at the time, they were searching for a man who walked into a family's home and opened fire, killing a 4-year-old boy and wounding 4 adults, which are those adults right there. I want y'all to take a look at that picture right there. Notate that just for a moment mentally, because we're going to come back to that. Please believe we're definitely going to come back to that picture, okay? Now, the mass shooting, and I'm glad they call it a mass shooting because that's exactly what it was. The mass shooting took place at around 2 a.m. inside a 2-story home on the 100 block of Perry Street in Struthers on the Ohio-Pennsylvania border. Struthers Police Chief Tim Roddy said in a press conference that the gunman made his way inside the home and began yelling at the people inside the house. Before the residents had a chance to respond, the intruder opened fire inside the living room, according to the news. Hashtag not my words. Roddy identified the deceased child as 4-year-old Rowan Sweeney, who was, and that little boy right there is going to be the subject of this story. Beautiful baby boy, man, and it just really sucks. He died in the arms of his mother. Right there, that is 22-year-old Alexis Schneider. That's not Schneider, that's Scheider? Alexis Scheider. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. 22-year-old Alexis Scheider, who was also shot. Now, if you guys have any ideas as I'm reading this story, why y'all think that this happened, please post in the comments, because we're just going to give our opinions at this point until we know more details. Now, Yarnell Green Jr., 30 years old, and 20-year-old Andre Stefan McCoy Jr. are in critical condition at St. Elizabeth Health Center. One of them suffering from 2 gunshot wounds to the head, and the other from 2 gunshot wounds to the back. Golly. One got 2 to the head, one got 2 in the back. Both Scheider and Cassandra Mariscola, who is 20 years old, were hospitalized in stable condition after being shot in the legs. Yes, guys, this is very graphic. All of our stories are. Like I say, it might be difficult to listen to our stories, but nothing can be more difficult than what our babies, what this little boy had to go through. So I want you guys to at least hear his story, okay? Now, the suspect, in this case, they're saying suspect, but it's actually 2 suspects. But they ran away from the home on foot. Police say that the surviving victims told them they don't know the gunman. They say that they don't know the gunman. I want y'all to bookmark that part of the story. We'll come back to it. Now, Mariscola called 911 to report the incident, saying that everyone in the house had been shot. Scheider, the mother, could be heard yelling on the call, "My son is dead." Neighbors reported hearing 5 to 8 gunshots, but did not see the suspects. The two injured women were described as friends. They are cooperating with the investigation. Now, let's keep going. Meanwhile, Rowan's biological father, who was David Sweeney, let me see if I can get the biological father on here because he did speak out, which is good. The biological father is actually right. I think I missed him. Let's see if I can get back to the father. That's the biological father on the right-hand side of the screen. That is David Sweeney, and he delivered an emotional statement calling his son's killer a coward and a scumbag, and urged him to be a man. Because he wanted him to turn himself in, but he's been caught. He's been already taken into custody, which is that individual, that person we're getting ready to talk about here in just a moment. That is, let me see if I can get his name, 24-year-old Kimani Bryant, 24 years old. His name is Kimone, Kimani. Like a female, Kimani. Rowan was the sweetest boy, according to his father, who had a trembling voice with emotion. Rowan was the best. He is so young and he did not deserve any of this. Buddy, I am so sorry for you, buddy. I love you. Then addressing the killer directly, Sweeney said through the sobs, "You're a sick dude. You're sick. You took my son from me. You can live with that for the rest of your life." Police described the suspect, well, as you guys can see, we'll skip that part. Let's see. They also revealed that the police had been called to the home a week prior for a report of a drug overdose involving one of the people who were shot on Monday. Let me take a drink for that for a moment. If you guys are listening to this stream, please click the thumbs up. Share the stream. Let other people know that we're live talking about this story if you would. All you got to do is click that thumbs up. It helps a lot. We already have a number of people who were able to support us financially by way of the donations, which is awesome, and we are absolutely honored by that. All I ask for everybody else to do is just please click that thumbs up. Our goal is 400 thumbs up. So if you can help get us there, that'll help actually share this story. I'm going to say that again. They revealed that police had been called to the home a week ago for a report of a drug overdose involving one of the people that were shot. Involved one of the people that were shot. I need you to bookmark that. We'll come back to it. When officers arrived at the scene, the person who overdosed had fled and had to be chased to make sure that he received treatment. So let's go back in the story just for a moment. Since they said it was a he, so we know it wasn't one of the two females. So it was either Yarnell Green Jr., who was 30 years old. See if I can get their faces back up here. Where's their picture at? Where's that good old group picture at? I don't have too many pictures in here. It shouldn't be that hard to find. Right about here. It was either Yarnell Green Jr., who was 30 years old, or 20-year-old Andre Stefan McCoy Jr. It was one of those two in the middle that they were talking about. Okay? And I need to turn my sound off. I'll turn my sound off here in just a moment. Now let's get back to the story. Let me see if I can find where I left off. When officers arrived at the scene, the person who overdosed had fled and had to be chased to make sure that he received treatment. The Mahoning County Homicide Task Force and several police departments in the area are helping Struthers Police with the investigation. Now, let's go to part 2 of this story, which is about the second gunman, which they did not talk about. Okay? Police have made a second arrest in the September 21st murder of the 4-year-old Ohio boy. If I can get this thing off my screen, Rowan Sweeney. According to local reports, including those from the Youngstown Vindicator and the Warren Tribune Chronicle, the Northern Ohio Violent Fugitive Task Force on Wednesday detained a 17-year-old boy. Let's not call this punk a boy. He is a man. 17 years old is a man. If it was a 17-year-old girl, it'd be a 17-year-old woman. There's a reason I'm calling this 17-year-old a man, okay? Because it has to do with how they're talking about how they're going to charge him for this. They detained this 17-year-old individual for his alleged role in the death of Sweeney, who was fatally shot during a home invasion in Struthers. Let me take a pause real quick and say thank you to Stella Petro, showing some love. Stella's in the chat. Thank you for taking on that $10 challenge, showing some love. Thank you for continuing to keep giving these babies a voice and helping our platform grow. So thank you very much. I don't know why these ads keep popping up. That's why I hate these websites sometimes. But anyway, let's keep going. That 4-year-old boy died in his mother's arms soon after the shooting, which unfolded around 2 a.m. Rowan's mother and 3 other adults were injured in the shooting. They identified the suspect as 17-year-old Brandon Crump, who was the second alleged shooter. Let me be careful how I parse my words. That's the second person that was involved with this individual. So that individual is the dude by the name of Kimani, who has a female's name, Kimani Bryant, who was 24 years old. And it seems as though he brought along a 17-year-old young man to help ruin his life, because this 24-year-old ain't shit. And I guess when you're not shit, you want company, because misery loves company, right? Apparently that's the way that thing works. They identified the second suspect as Brandon Crump and report he has been charged with aggravated robbery with a firearm specification. Now, it's unclear if the report, if Crump had appeared before a judge to plead to that charge. Hours before the deadly shooting, police had apprehended the alleged gunman, 24-year-old Kimani, because he's got a girl name, Kimani Bryant. He has been charged with aggravated murder, which he's entered a not guilty plea. Bookmark that. If convicted, he could actually be sentenced to death. According to the reports, Brandon Crump was detained as he tried to flee a home from which the 3 gunmen, let me read that again. Brandon Crump was detained as he tried to flee a home from which 3 guns and ammunition were recovered. Attorneys for the 2 suspects could not be reached for comment. Both are being held with no bond. I got another part of the story to read you guys. So bear with me, because this is very, very deep. A criminal complaint filed in Struthers Municipal Court alleges that 24-year-old Kimani Bryant, who was in the bottom right-hand corner, the suspect in the shootings that left the 4-year-old boy dead, aimed a gun at the child's head and fired 2 shots at the top of that 4-year-old boy's head. Shot that baby in the head twice. His mother covered the boy and begged the gunman not to shoot him. Bryant appeared for arraignment in court, and he did not enter a plea to the felony, and he is not eligible for bond. A court-appointed attorney is to be named for him because, of course, he don't have money to hire private counsel. And we're going to talk about money here in a moment. Bryant is in the Mahoning County Jail without bond and is facing an aggravated murder charge. He turned himself in to the U.S. Marshal Service at about 8 p.m. on that Monday, roughly 18 hours after he was accused of barging into the 111 Perry Street house and shooting 4 adults and fatally shooting Rowan Sweeney. The 4 adults that are injured are Alexis Schneider, 22 years old, who is the mother, who the complaint said identified Bryant as the shooter from a photo lineup shown to her in the hospital. So she's saying that's who did it. Cassandra Mariscola, who is 20 years old of Campbell, who called 911. Yarnell Green Jr., 30 years old of Youngstown, and Andre McCoy, 20 years old of Youngstown. Here's my last part of the story that I want to tell you guys about, because y'all want to know why this happened, right? I'm assuming that's why it's here. Let me give a shout out real quick to Tiffany Harper. Said, I love what you do for these babies. Keep up the amazing work that you do. Sorry, this is all I could do at this time. Much love from Georgia. And I'll tell you, Tiffany Harper, it is more than enough. And I'm absolutely honored that you were able to find it in your heart and in your budget to be able to contribute to what it is that we do here. And I want to say thank you very much. We're getting ready to nominate these thugs for the space program because I don't think that they need jail. I think they need to go straight to hell. And I want y'all to hear this. How about this for a motive? Are y'all ready to hear the motive? Because some of y'all said it was over money. Some of y'all said it was over drugs. But I'm going to tell you guys what I believe it was after I read this part of the story. They're claiming, so to Wally, they're claiming that they did not know this guy. But I'm going to see what you guys think after I give this part of the story. So y'all tell me if y'all felt like she knew him or not, or any of them knew these guys. Now, while we got 400 people watching, I need y'all to click that thumbs up. Ladies and gentlemen, our goal is 400 thumbs up. The only way we can get to our goal of 400 thumbs up is if you guys would just take a moment, look down at that thumbs up, make it blue, highlight it, click that thumbs up. It'll help share our stream and let other people know that we're live. Because right now, YouTube doesn't know to let our other subscribers know that we're live until you guys hit that thumbs up. The more you hit that thumbs up, the more people will show up, the more people can have an opinion that can see it while we're live, okay? Let me give a shout out real quick to Partially Off Grid and Homesteading, who's been around for a long time. Said, thank you, DJ Just J, for all that you do for those who cannot speak for themselves. I'm absolutely honored. Thank you for always showing support, and thank you for taking on that $5 challenge. Thank you very much. Look at this. Stacy said, because of the AFC, I took action and took my 4 grandgirls away from my daughter and her abuser since her first one. Thank you. Keep it going. That's a testimony right there. Y'all see what Stacy wrote? That is a testimony right there. And I want to say thank you very much. And I'm glad, and I really do hope that our stories and our channel is making a difference. But clearly it is, man, when people can come back and tell you guys how our channel and how our movement is actually changing people's lives. So I'm honored to hear a story like that. That is awesome. Thank you very much. So let's talk about the motive. We're at 261 thumbs up. We need 149 more people to click that thumbs up. Can we get that? Can we get that? 149 more people, please. Click that thumbs up. How about this for a motive? Here we go. A teen denies charges in robbery and fatal shooting. I'm going to try to read this. The text is a little bit small, but I'm going to do my best to try to read this. A 17-year-old defendant was arraigned on Thursday morning, and if y'all want to know why they did not put his face out there, it's because he's, as of right now, being charged as a juvenile, but they're talking about upgrading charges to make him an adult, which I think they should, okay? But he was arraigned on Thursday in Mahoning County Juvenile Court, where he faces charges of aggravated robbery in connection with the fatal shooting of a small child. Brandon Crump was arrested on Wednesday at a house along South Pearl Street in Youngstown, Ohio, where he was tracked down by agents from the U.S. Marshal Service Northern Ohio Violent Fugitive Task Force. That is a long title. Authorities took 3 handguns, Authorities took 3 handguns from the house during the bust and said that Crump tried to run when authorities converged on him. Allegedly, he brandished a handgun in the September 21st robbery at the home in Struthers, where the 4-year-old boy, Rowan Sweeney, was among the 4 people who were shot, while Crump and a 24-year-old co-defendant, Kimani Bryant, were allegedly robbing a man. Get this. Robbed a man who had just received a government stimulus check. Do y'all need me to read that again? I gotta tell you, man. I gotta tell you. It's funny how this stimulus check was really only supposed to help people who were already working with this coronavirus stuff, shutting people's jobs down. All it was meant to do was try to buy people more time to start getting back to working and start getting back to collecting their normal paychecks from work. All of this stuff was designed to try to help us out while Donald Trump tried to get us the bailouts for the businesses. Not bailouts, but the loans for the businesses, because really not a bailout, but and also the stimulus checks to help needy families. Robbed a man of his government stimulus check. I want to see how many people, I can't even talk. Let me rewind and say it again. I want to see how many people in the chat are quick enough on their feet and smart enough to figure out what that means. How did these 2 thugs, Brandon Crump and Kimani Bryant, how did they even find out that these people got a stimulus check? Are y'all ready to start tying some laces on these shoes? Because I'm going to tell you guys, there's a lot of people in Ohio who are probably going to be very, very, very pissed about what I'm going to say and what I'm going to accuse at least the 2 men of being involved in. Okay? First of all, there's 4 people in a house in Ohio. Let it be known that places like Cuyahoga County and other counties in Ohio, Cleveland and other places are thought to be, and it don't mean all, and it's not all, and it's not everybody. Okay? Hashtag not all. But it is known to be very drug infested. Am I lying? It is very familiar to a lot of people to be involved with drugs and money. Let's put that out there. Let's rewind in the story. Let's take that bookmark out of the page for a moment. Remember we talked about how one of the 2 men that were shot was overdosing? And they called the cops, and when the cops tried to get there to help this man out because he was overdosing, he tried to take off and run. Fast forward, he was one of the victims that was shot in this story. So you can't say that drugs weren't involved when one of the people that were shot were actually taking drugs. That's a fact. I hate it when people email me, post comments in the comment section, talk about, I don't know what I'm talking about, when that is an absolute fact. Okay? Second thing that I noticed that nobody in the chat said yet, because we've heard from the biological father was not there. Why was it that these 2 women were with these 2 men? To me, that says, and I'm just assuming at this point, that the biological mother and biological father are not currently in a relationship. I'm just going to assume. He's 4 years old. In 4 years, anything is possible. Now, let me get back to talking about my point of bringing that up. I would have to assume, and I'm just merely assuming, why all of this happened, that the mom may have been dating one of the people that were shot. How about that for a narrative? Since these people don't want to snitch and don't want to tell us what's really going on, well, DJ Just Jay is going to tell you what I believe, huh? I'm going to tell you what I believe. I believe, in my opinion, this is a guess, a hypothesis, not a fact. I believe that the mom was dating one of those two men that was there. It is possible that one of those two men were either A, a thug, B, a drug dealer, or C, a drug user, or a combination of those three things. Which is why I believe that they went so hard on the little boy. Because not only did they come in and so-called try to rob this man who had just received a stimulus check, first and foremost, unless you just posted to the world, posted to social media, and told everybody that you were given a stimulus check, I want you, matter of fact, I'm going to pause it on that picture right there, because I'm starting to get pissed. I'll pause it on that picture right there. I want y'all to look and focus on those two dudes. All you got to do is just match those women up. Either the one on the left, the two on the left are together, or the one on the left is with the one on the middle right. All you got to do is swap those guys. How would they have known that one of those two men got a stimulus check? You want to know how I figure this? What I figure, since one of those two men overdosed because they were taking drugs, what that means is that if you were taking drugs, you were buying drugs. You were a drug user, you bought drugs. So if you bought drugs, or if somebody fronted you drugs, or if you were supposed to be selling the drugs, but you end up using the drugs, I could see somebody, coming to collect their money for what you owe them. And if you owe them, I would think that an individual will probably be desperate enough to say, hey man, don't kill me. I got your money. I got a stimulus check coming in. Am I starting to put some wheels to this car yet? Are y'all starting to hear what I'm talking about yet? I would assume that one of those two dudes in the middle owed Kamani Bryant, or whoever Kamani Bryant works for, owes him some money, and he came to collect. The dude probably didn't have the cash on him that Kamani and his homeboy Brandon Crump demanded, and the dude panicked and said, hey, I got a stimulus check coming in that I can cash. That may or may not have covered the cost of whatever drugs they got involved in. So if you ask me, I think that if one of those two women were sleeping with the man who they knew overdosed prior, and now fast forward later on, they were in the house with him, one of those two women knew that these dudes were not reputable characters and knew that these dudes were around drugs. Either it was the mom or it was that other chick. And I'm going to tell you guys something that might be a little bit hard to hear. I'm going to bet that it was the mom who was dealing with the dude who owed money, who was the drug user. Why? Well, why the hell else would you shoot and murder a 4-year-old baby the way that they did? What do they call that? Execution style. Why else would they shoot and murder a 4-year-old baby boy execution style like that? Not just because he was there. I think they did that in order to punish the mother who was probably in a relationship with the dude who owed money. Now, does that sound like a narrative that you can believe? Or are we just going to wait and just everybody just not going to say nothing? They said this was a robbery. I say this were a drug deal gone bad. That's what I believe. Let me go ahead and give you guys the fair usage. I'm going to let these pictures roll, but let me give you guys the fair usage, and I'm going to let you guys listen to the news videos because there's a lot. Hashtag, when you date thugs, you date death. That's an AFC hashtag. Let me give you guys the fair usage. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. I want y'all to catch what they said in this news story because this is very, very key. Listen to this again because I know people were asking, did they know the people who shot them? The mom tried to come out and say, no, we didn't know them at all. But I want y'all to listen because one of those two women knew or was with one of the boyfriends that knew the shooter. Listen again.
Struthers police say Bryant shot 5 people inside a home on Perry Street, including the young boy's mother, who held him as he died. Newly released court documents indicate Bryant knew at least one of the other victims, Andre McCoy.
Knew at least one.
Court documents indicate Bryant knew at least one of the other victims, Andre McCoy. Bryant knew at least one of the other victims, Andre McCoy. Bryant knew at least one of the other victims, Andre McCoy.
So I don't want people telling me I don't have my information right. This is what they're reporting, that
Bryant knew at least one of the other victims, Andre McCoy.
2 men, 2 girls, they were with each other, and I'm assuming that those girls were probably in a relationship with those dudes. Some type of relationship. But if those girls knew those dudes, and if they were at this house, and one of those dudes was dealing with drugs, then that means that one of those girls, which means there's a 50-50 chance that it could have been the mom, knew that that dude was involved with drugs. Hello. How about that for a motive?
At least one of the other victims, Andre McCoy. A criminal complaint states the pair exchanged a number of text messages in the minutes just before the shooting. In one of them, the prosecutor claims Bryant asks McCoy if his girlfriend's car is in front of the house on Perry, and McCoy replies, yeah, adding to come up the steps. That
Andre McCoy Jr. is 20 years old, and the mom is 22 years old. The shooter is 24 years old. Let me see if I can get those other ages in here real quick. Cassandra, hold on. Cassandra, the other girl, is 20 years old. So, and then the other guy, Yarnell Green Jr., is 30. I don't know, man.
Front of the house on Perry, and McCoy replies, yeah, adding to come up the steps.
So he invited him to come upstairs and said, come up the steps, open the door. That is not a kick dough. That is not a robbery. Somebody don't have clean hands. Hello? Somebody don't have clean hands. He was invited him to come upstairs. That is not a robbery. Either A, he owes money, or B, Andre McCoy set them up. But I don't believe it was a setup. I believe that he owed that dude money. And that dude was pulled up on him and he said, all right, we up here, come through.
The door was open. The complaint also claims Rowan's mother, Alexis Schneider, begged for her son's life, but Bryant shot him anyway. For now, McCoy remains on life support while the others are all hospitalized in serious condition.
Hashtag when you date thugs, you date death.
In court this afternoon, the law director asked that the defendant remain behind bars.
For good cause shown, no bond will be set in the matter. The case will be set for preliminary hearing.
Bryant is due back in court again late next week. In Struthers, Jerry Ricciuti, WKBN 27 First News.
And you know what's so sad about this is the fact that we can look at these stories and we see so many of these things happen that we don't even really need to know what the real truth is out of the mouth of those people. We've just seen this happen so much that we can pinpoint this. And I know a lot of people don't like the fact that I give my theories and my thesis on what happened, but very rarely are we wrong. And we see this happen so often that these things start to follow a pattern. I do think that it's very sad, no matter what they were involved in, this little boy didn't deserve to be shot and killed, no matter what. That little boy was not able to defend himself nor speak for himself. He was in the care of his mom. His mom was in a dangerous position, whether she knew it or not. I believe that the mom might have been heavily involved with one of those dudes, and I'm just going to assume, let's just say that they're buddies. They watched the dude have an episode from overdosing. That's in the documents. One of those two dudes right there had an overdose. They watched it happen. And then they continued to stay around this dude, and her son was inside of this house. Those are things that are facts. That's indisputable. Now, am I sitting here trying to make people feel bad for putting this little boy in this position? What I want people to do is I want people to think, like Tommy said, shout out to my brother Tommy. But I just want people to think and start using their freaking heads. Because what we can't do is we cannot continue to keep putting our children in dangerous situations and then be surprised by the results. Like taking your kids to the Thug Zoo. I know I didn't call it the Thug Zoo, but I call it the Thug Zoo now. But you take your kids to the Thug Zoo. You know that the Thug Zoo is a very dangerous place. And you decide to take your little 4-year-old boy and put your 4-year-old boy inside of the Thug Lion cage. And then you go in there to try to save your son after the Thug Lion that went and mauled your kid's face off. And then the Thug Lion ends up mauling you and your friends trying to save you. And then the Thug Lion runs away with his accomplice. How many times are we going to keep telling this story? Apparently, we're going to continue to keep doing this until people figure out the fact that we need to change our lives. And the reason we're in these situations that we're in is because we choose them. We choose to be in these situations. Let's not act like this was random, because it was not. That dude that you see on my screen, that little thug demon right there, that little Thug Lion that you saw on my screen, he's not random. He was not there at random. He was invited, based on what they said, by 20-year-old Andre McCoy Jr., who also got shot. This and Brandon Crump, his accomplice, his 17-year-old accomplice, they were not there randomly. And until these people get their shit together and start being more honest with the public, then we'll realize what they were actually involved in. But until then, you're just going to have to hear our theories and hear our thoughts and our opinions about this story. And it's really sad, the fact that these idiots didn't have nothing better to do with their lives, and they didn't have any value on their lives. And I'm glad that they actually called this a mass shooting, because that's exactly what it was. Thugs continue to ruin the chances of kids who could have grown up to become something great. These two thugs are nobodies. And I want to repeat this. they are nobodies. I want y'all to hear me well. Those two thugs, I hope that 17-year-old get charged as an adult. But I know they say all lives matter. No, they don't. All lives do not matter. Those two thugs' lives did not matter. And I hope that they both get the ultimate penalty under law for what they did. They should suffer for their transgressions. I think that prosecutor should absolutely try that 17-year-old as an adult. Because I want y'all to think about this. There's a few things that you can do as a 17-year-old. Because some of y'all might not think that you're grown at 17. But there's a few things that you can do just exactly like a grown person at 17. Huh? You can enroll in college at 17. You can be a parent at 17. You can drive a car at 17. You can work a job and pay taxes at 17. You can emancipate yourself and be an actual adult at 17. And I want y'all to think about this. Both of those dudes denied the charges that they're charged with. But don't they all do that? They all gonna say, "Eyes didn't do nothing, boss. Eyes didn't do nothing. Eyes didn't know nothing." They all are gonna say the same thing. Everybody who gets in trouble is gonna say, didn't do nothing. Ain't nobody did nothing. Ain't nobody know nothing. It's just a real sad thing to see. But I really truly believe that this father is heartbroken. And I want to say RIP to his son, Rowan Sweeney, 4 years old, beautiful little boy. And he deserved an opportunity to grow up and become something great. And it's really sad that he won't get that chance. My name is DJ Just JOK. We're the AFC, where we advocate for children first. And I want y'all to remember, we advocate for children first. Get out your damn feelings. Start saving these babies. Take that energy, put it into the kids, man. Please like, share, and subscribe. From my heart to yours, I love you. And thank you guys so much for listening. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you guys, it's a little bit disheartening when in our society, it's 2020 right now, we have a lot of ways that are built in to protect women. And I think that women do need some protection because I think that we need to kind of celebrate our differences. Men are set up a little bit different than women. So yes, I do think that women need some concessions. Like we need to be able to concede to women in a lot of different things, right? That doesn't make them any less than us. I just think that we need to celebrate our differences. But here's what we cannot allow. What we can't allow is for a group of people to have so many options, and it does not apply to everybody. And I know that my awesome ladies, my awesome women out there, I know we got a lot of ladies out there that are just awesome people. The awesome women out there that are good mothers and good parents and good role models and good law-abiding citizens understand accountability and understand the difference between right and wrong, and understand that when you have a multitude of options for when you bring children into this world, like when it comes to conception, when it comes to giving birth, when it comes to who you have sex with and all of that good stuff, you have a ton of options before you meet a man, when you meet a man, when you decide to lay down with a man, what you do after you've laid down with a man, what do you do after you've gotten pregnant? You've got a ton of options, right? And that's just a fact. You have a ton of options, and for the life of me, I can't understand why anybody would still think that it's okay to put a baby in danger, let alone murder a baby, and just throw a baby away just like it's yesterday's trash. And I just don't understand that. There's no excuse for it. And as a society, we have to start standing up against people who do stuff like that, okay? The individual that you see on my screen is, from what I've heard, was a YouTuber. And I don't know how valid that is. I don't know if her channel is still up. If you can find her videos, maybe some of y'all know how many subscribers she had. But from what I heard, this was supposed to be a very popular YouTuber who did, I guess, makeup tutorials. Or maybe somebody who wants to participate in the Barnum and Bailey circus. I don't freaking know. What kind of a makeup job? Man, look at this. Let me show y'all some more pictures of this so-called makeup artist. Let me show y'all some. Let me show y'all some pictures. I want y'all to tell. Now that's actually kind of cool. I'll give her that. That's kind of cool right there. Ain't no hating over here. But I want y'all to look at that. What human being is going to walk out of the house looking like that? Or is this just something she does for fun? Hell, I don't know. Maybe it's like some Halloween makeup or something. I don't know. I am confused. But this whole damn story is confusing. That individual that you see right there who looked like one of Santa's helpers on Christmas Day, her name is Alyssa Ann Dayvault, who was supposed to be YouTube famous and is charged with homicide by child abuse and destruction and desecration or removal of human remains. A South Carolina-based makeup artist is facing life in prison after she allegedly covered up not one, but 2 pregnancies over the course of 13 months and disposed of the babies in dumpsters where they died shortly after they were born. Not one, but 2. Alyssa Ann Dayvault is 30 years old. There better not be a single person that tells me, well, she was young. She was young. There better not be a single person that comes and tries to defend this woman's actions. Or I'm going to think some of y'all are crazy. 30 years old. Old enough to know better. Plenty of old enough. She grown. Way past grown. But she's been charged with 2 counts of homicide by child abuse and 2 counts of destruction and desecration or removal. Desecration and removal of human remains for the horrific crimes she allegedly committed earlier this month and in November of 2017. And 2017. How did nobody find out about this? How did nobody not know that she was pregnant? Did nobody not see her? Did she not go any? Man, let me tell the story. The North Myrtle Beach Police Department says in warrants that Dayvault was admitted to the Grand Strand Regional Hospital December the 5th for heavy vaginal bleeding. While under care at the hospital, Dayvault delivered a placenta and umbilical cord consistent with full-term pregnancy, but no child was delivered according to the police warrant. She later admitted during questioning with the police that she gave birth to a baby boy at her North Myrtle Beach home. The defendant stated that the child was born alive and took multiple gasping breaths after being born. That's heartbreaking, man. The defendant further stated that she failed to secure medical treatment and did not personally take action to attempt to preserve or save the infant's life. The defendant then disposed of the child's body in a waste receptacle or trash can at her residence in NMB without seeking help or notifying authorities. Dayvault, who was employed as a personal makeup artist and hairstylist at Exalt Salon in Little River, is also accused, let me say that again, is also accused of disposing a second infant in a dumpster shortly after a home birth of November 4th of 2017. The defendant then disposed of the child's body in a public waste receptacle, aka trash can, at her apartment in NMB without seeking help or notifying authorities. During the course of the investigation, police obtained medical records which indicated that on 11/4 of 2017, the defendant was in her third trimester of a pregnancy and that the fetus had a healthy heart tone. So, where's the biological fathers in this? Not once, but twice. And if they say that they knew that this baby had a heartbeat, then that means that she had went to a doctor at some point. And just nobody's gonna realize in 9 months that there ain't no baby. And then you get a second chance to do it again? Boy, that makeup must be messing that woman's brain cells up. She is currently being held without bond, good for that, at the J. Reuben Long Detention Center. While it's unclear whether Devault is married, she has frequently posted photos of her 2 young daughters on social media. Okay, now I'm even more confused. She frequently posted photos of her 2 young daughters on social media. So she had additional kids? Two young daughters plus these 4. Man, who's going to make an excuse for this? Who's going to make an excuse in this story? I just want to know. I can't wait to read the comments after this is all said and done of who's going to make an excuse for her. 4 kids? Are you kidding me? 2 young daughters plus 1 baby that was thrown in the trash can in 2017, and then another that she gave birth to and threw that one in the trash can. 4 pregnancies, 4 kids. Who is sleeping with this nasty broad? Gross. Aside from sharing moments with her family, and matter of fact, can I get on the family just for a moment before I show y'all the videos? And pardon my language, but her family ain't shit. If she's got sisters or brothers or mother and father or cousins, aunties, uncles, best friends, anybody who knew her ain't shit. Neighbors, man. And y'all didn't see nothing, didn't say anything. That is just horrible. But let me give you guys the fair usage. I'm going to show y'all the news videos. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Yeah, I agree, man. That's just disgusting. I'm going to show y'all a couple of news videos that we had. We didn't have a lot, but I will show y'all what we got here. So y'all bear with me just a moment. We get these pulled up. If you guys are watching our stream currently, if you would, please click the thumbs up. If you do, that'll help share our stream and let other people know that we're talking about this story that I think needs some more attention. Okay, let's get it.
This week, the other a little more than a year ago. Taggart Hauk with our sister station in Myrtle Beach has more.
30-year-old Alyssa Davault is accused of killing 2 of her newborn babies, one this week, the other a little more than a year ago. According to arrest warrants, Davault went to the hospital just over a week ago for bleeding. Doctors found a placenta and umbilical cord, but no baby. A police report states she denied to hospital staff that she was pregnant, but later confessed to police that she's had the baby at home. It was breathing, and she disposed of it.
Nothing good about anything like that happening anywhere close to home.
Eric Herron lived near Davault last November when an arrest report says she did the same thing in this apartment building.
I feel like it's a very family-oriented community, and to hear something like that happening in my neighborhood, in our neighborhood, is really sad.
And nobody said anything. Nobody said a word. Nobody questioned seeing this woman pregnant and then seeing no newborn babies. Over the course of 3 years? It's a little bit strange.
A police report says they learned of the 2017 baby when they secured her medical records. They say those records show she had an ER visit in her 3rd trimester in 2017 and that she admitted she gave birth to a live baby girl and disposed of the child.
As far as the hospital, I don't really know how that works. But if she went to go get a checkup at this hospital, I don't know if she had any type of prenatal care or a I don't know what you call those type of doctors. But how is it that they didn't make any attempts to follow up or notify or something? Because if they knew that she was in her 3rd trimester, then you know that she's close to giving birth. Why didn't anybody ask about that? I don't know, man. Weird.
Davault's Facebook page shows a smiling mom with 2 children. Police say they're 6 and 8 years old. We reached out to her family and her boyfriend, but have not heard back. Her boyfriend Chris did post this message on his Facebook page saying, quote, "I beg for your prayers. Prayers for my son and daughter who were not given the chance to live on this planet, who were selfishly hidden from me and thrown away like trash."
So, Chris Matchison, I beg for your prayers for my son and daughter who were not given a chance to live on this planet, who were selfishly hidden from me and thrown away like trash, and I beg for you to respect my privacy. Thank you, everyone, especially to those who have reached out in some form. Wow. You guys want to? Hey, I feel like you, Lacey. I'm gonna point something out. She already has, and I don't know if those other 2 girls are his, but let's just say if those other 2 kids are not his. I don't know. But how Chris was able to have that much sex with this woman, and as a grown-ass man, you didn't know that she was pregnant? Maybe y'all weren't living together. I'm assuming that this dude had to been plugging this woman, because she seems like she likes sex a lot. 4 kids, I think you like sex a lot. I think you like the male genitalia quite a bit. I don't think there's any woman that has 3 and 4 and 5 kids that don't really love them some male genitalia. Huh? Am I wrong? I know there's some people out there that maybe got 1 kid or 2 or maybe no kids that still love the male genitalia. But I just think that people who have a ton of kids like it just a little bit more than the average woman. It's a hell of a drug. As a man, how do you not know that this chick was pregnant? Were you not paying attention to how fat she got in a 3rd trimester? And not only once, but he's admitting that he had sex with her at least twice. And she was pregnant twice. How did you not know twice? So you mean to tell me the only time you had sex with her was before she got pregnant? I think you would have known. Because I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of secret, if I can do this real quick before we wrap up. I hope she don't mind me telling this. I knew my daughter's mom, and shout out to my daughter's mom. I knew that she was pregnant. I could visibly see that she was pregnant, and she was relatively shapely for the most part. I could tell that she was pregnant after 2 weeks. I could tell that early. I could tell my daughter's mom was pregnant after 2 weeks, 14 days. You mean to tell me 9 months of pregnancy, 3rd trimester, how did he not know through 9 months? Or did she just not talk to you for 9 months? Which I seriously doubt. 9 months. And not only once, but you get back with her again, and then a whole nother 9 months. You didn't know that how many of y'all say hashtag BS in the chat? How many of y'all call BS in the chat? That's the text message. It's not my words. It's his words. The fact that you have a man involved that actually came out and spoke on social media to address this, and he said that he didn't know anything about this. And I just think that's weird for you to be having sex with somebody and having unprotected sex with somebody that you can't keep tabs on. And I say that because it doesn't sound like they were in a relationship. It don't sound like they were under the same roof. And if they were, then that makes it even worse that he didn't know. But if they weren't under the same roof, then as men, that just proves how irresponsible that we are becoming with our seeds. How can you just give your seed to just any and everybody like this woman, and you had no idea that this woman was pregnant? You didn't see her for 9 months. You didn't talk to her for 9 months. Then she come back around and you get pregnant. She get pregnant by you again? Based on your words, Dad. That's really weird. And the fact that, like I said in the beginning, that we have so many different ways to prevent this from happening. So many different ways. We have abstinence, number 1. We have condoms, number 2. We have day after pill, Plan B pills, number 3. We have abortion, number 4. Late term abortions, number 5. Number 6, we also have safe haven laws where you can drop these kids off after you give birth to them. And even 8, there is adoption. There are plenty of options to protect these kids, so we don't even have to get to this point. But here's what I find to be the saddest thing. No matter how many options you give a human being, they'll still find a way to screw it up. And for that, I'm asking for people, don't make any excuses for people like that. Because the more excuses and the more outs you give people, they're just going to continue to keep trying to find ways out of that. And that's where we have to put our foot down as Americans, put our foot down as citizens, put our foot down as parents and caretakers, and say, we can't keep making excuses for these people. And we've got to stop, and we've got to nip it in the bud at some point. This woman deserves no mercy. This woman deserves to have justice presented against her. And this woman deserves to lose all of her reproductive rights. She should never be able to see her children. She should never even have the organs to be able to produce any more children. Hashtag TTO. I hope that those babies' soul rest in peace. They never got a chance to experience this world. And I believe that they deserved an opportunity to grow up and become something. That woman robbed them of that opportunity. And like I said, I think she's just a sick person. And the fact that you're a so-called content creator on top of that, She's just a self-absorbed, horrible individual that needs to be launched into outer space. I don't know how else to say it. Hopefully we get justice, and hopefully she does life in prison. I'm DJ Just Jay, and I'm a YouTuber, and I'm not out here killing my kids. Just saying. I think that babies' lives matter, and we're the AFC where we advocate for children first. From my heart to yours, I love you guys. Y'all have a great day. Have a great night. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Please think about becoming part of the AFC. Support us in this mission. All right? Peace.
Nora's Authentic Designer has some of the most glamorous and stylish handbags your girl has ever seen. So ladies, if you want to get fly, and fellas, if you want to take care of your lady, please be sure to go to www.noras915.com. www.noras915.com. That's right, www.noras915.com.
Hello listeners, come mask up with Keyline Designs, where you reap what we sow. We offer essential handcrafted face masks made with 100% cotton, equipped with a built-in filter and a slot for refillable filters. Our masks have many uses like riding motorcycles, ATVs, while out in public places, outside exercising, lawn and gardening, and helps prevent the spread of germs. We offer bling, sports logos, monograms, many assorted fabrics and colors. We make child-size masks starting at the age of 2. Come join us today for the launch of our new website at keylinedesigns.com. Please be sure to like and follow our page on Facebook. Our links can be found in the description box of this video. Thank you.